Donald Trump does not hold back, talking about Joe Biden and the deep state's plot to take him out of the running in the 2024 election. You guys got to check this out.
You've spoken about them and the fraud and abuse of that process over years. They're basically immigrant investment visas. $800,000, you can get a fast track to a green card. You don't have to speak English. You don't have to have a special skill, but it's very popular. It's a big long line of people waiting to get these.
We're going to have one that's much more popular.
But the golden visa, which you're obviously backing, probably is going to have to go through Congress. We'll see if they actually do that. But $5 million investment from a foreigner coming into the United States. Why should our citizenship be purchased for any amount of money, especially given the fact that you're America first, given the types of people who have $5 million to throw down for a visa or for a permanent residency?
That's why, because I'm America first. Because at $5 million, you're getting a lot of things, but you're getting $5 million. Let's say we sell 1 million of them. That's $5 trillion. We are now a unbelievably successful country, paying down tremendous amounts of debt. It's all going to pay down debt. We're going to have very little debt.
Separate fund?
But if you did, think of it, if you did $5 million. Now, generally, people that can pay $5 million are going to be job producers, okay? They're going to be successful. They're going to produce jobs. But here's another thing. Apple comes to me. A lot of companies come to me. They say, sir, we just made a deal to hire the #1 student at the Wharton School of Finance or at Harvard Business School or anything else, or MIT or Stanford or any of. But they're going to throw them out of the country the day after graduation. They'll buy these.
Why should any American kid become a computer
And by the way, they're going to
scientist?
call it either the gold card. The problem is there's many gold cards. Well, I will tell you what my people want to call it. It'll drive you crazy. It'll drive the left crazy. They want to call it the Trump card because the Trump card sells much better than the gold card. Everybody has a
So you're not worried about any unsavory people coming in and taking...
Yeah, I'm worried about unsavory, in which case we're going to
be vetted?
give them the money back and they get out.
They'll be properly vetted.
They're going to be properly vetted, but, you know, you're talking about a lot of people. I think it's going to be very successful. If somebody's wrong, we actually are very, very nice because it makes it a lot easier legally. We give them their money back and we send them out.
Donald Trump has had a lot of great ideas, and this right here just might be his best. Because if you think about it, these people are going to be bringing capital into this country. They're going to be producing jobs. And not only that, if we had 7 million people do this, our national debt is completely erased. America is no longer a debted nation. This is revolutionary, and I don't understand how no one else thought of this before. I guess it's because Trump is a visionary. He thinks outside the box, and he's not in bed with all these other politicians who are in debt to their sponsors and special interest groups.
There's going to be something else taking place. It's called April 2nd, and that's going to be tariffs. And China will pay and other countries will pay. We've been ripped off by every country in the world, friend and foe. And on April 2nd, I call it the liberation of America. We've been the fat, dumb, foolish country that allowed everybody to rip us off, including our friends. Look at NATO. Until I got involved in NATO, we were paying for the whole thing practically.
There's a lot of talk about a possibility of a recession, and CNBC had a report from the Fed saying they can't rule it out. It could actually happen. What can you say to Americans tonight who are concerned about the possibility of a recession, given the fact that you're trying to reorient the economy to a manufacturing economy again?
I think if I didn't get elected, our country would be finished to start off with. And I think now that I did get elected, I think we're going to have the strongest economy in the history of the world. And I had that economy in 4 years with all the harassment, with all the crazy people after me, with all of the things that went on, even with COVID. I had the strongest economy in the history of our country. I had a stock market that went up 88%. 88%, #1 in history. The other markets went up 66%, and I think like 71%.
Will we see a recession in 2025? Are you ruling it out?
We're going to have the strongest economic country in the history of the world, of the planet. We are taking in so much money. Now, some people are unhappy because, you know, it has to come from somewhere. Some of it's going to come from Europe because not everybody's going to be doing as much business maybe in Europe and other places. But I can only speak for the United States, and I am a nationalist, and I'm proud of it. I love this country, and I want to help other countries too. Look, I'm the one, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be talking peace in Ukraine and Russia, because they're not Americans being killed. They're Ukrainian soldiers and Russian soldiers, and I'm trying to make peace. And again, it has not that much to do other than we don't want to be paying billions. You know, Biden spent $350 billion on that war, got nothing for it.
How do interest rates end up going down when we're servicing our debt to the tune of about $1.2 trillion a year, and there's still deficit spending in Congress? How do we do that?
We have to pay off our debt. We have to start paying it off. Look, we're very under-leveraged when you look at the asset value of this country, but we're over-leveraged in terms of cash flow. We're going to have a big cash flow. We're going to take in, for years we allowed our country to be raped and pillaged, terrible expressions, and that's what happened. Much of it was done by our friends. Look at the European Union. We can't sell cars to them, but they sell millions of cars to us. They don't take our agricultural product, but we take theirs. The days are changing. We're not going to let this happen.
It's Barron's birthday on Thursday.
Yes.
And we've all, as a country, seen him grow up and see him really grow up.
Tall.
How often do you talk to him? Do you talk to him every day?
All the time.
What do you see for
all my kids? I speak to all my kids.
What do you see for his future, given his aptitude in certain areas? Business, politics, what?
I think business, and I think he could probably, you know, if you look at my kids, all of my kids are they've been very good. They're very smart, always good students, always the big schools, the good schools, hard to get into schools. Barron's a very smart guy, but Eric and Don, Tiffany, Ivanka, they're smart people. I'm lucky. Look, you have to be a little bit lucky, too. It's not like that. But they seem to be very smart. Not only seem to be, they are very smart. And they're good kids, and they work hard, and they love our country, and they're proud of their father. And, you know, we have a very good relationship.
The apple does not fall far from the tree. Look at Donald Trump's children. Look at Joe Biden's children, Kamala Harris's kids. Look at the difference between the two. Every single one of Trump's kids are always giving interviews to the press. They're always sharp as a tack, articulate, and never make a fool of themselves, despite the fact that they have constant media harassment for the past decade. Just look at what they did to poor Barron when he was 14 years old. People were actively making fun of a 14-year-old kid. Could you imagine if that was the other way around? If Republicans were making fun of, like, a Democratic kid? It would be career-ending for whoever did that. You have Madonna threatening to blow up the White House, Kathy Griffin having a decapitated pet of Donald Trump. These people are deranged. Just look at what they're doing to Teslas all across the nation. Weren't these the people that were so hell-bent on electric cars? Like that should be the future? Yet they're destroying the biggest advocate for renewable cars. It doesn't make any sense. These people are driven and motivated just by hatred. They don't have any vision for this country.
As a child, that your father saw that you had a musical aptitude. And so it's kind of obvious in kids early on what they're good at. But is Barron's aptitude, in your view, business or politics?
Maybe technology. He can look at a computer. I try turning off his car, turn it off. I turn off his laptop. I said, oh, good. And I go back 5 minutes later, he's got his laptop. I said, how'd you do that? None of your business, Dad. No, he's got an unbelievable aptitude in technology.
What do you do when you can't sleep? Because you don't sleep. You're like me, you don't sleep at all. I know you just don't need a lot of sleep. But when you can't fall asleep, you wake up in the night, how do you go back to sleep?
Well, the only thing I totally admired about Sleepy Joe Biden is the following. He'd go to a beach. He'd lay down in a cot, barely able to get his feet through the sand. He'd lay down, and within minutes, he's sleeping, and you have cameras watching him. I could never do that. I would never be able to sleep like that. That's about the only thing I think that was wonderful. He was a disaster. This man was a disaster. I don't sleep much. You don't sleep much. I've been like that. You had some of those paintings in vaults and safes for 100 years.
Wow.
They haven't been exposed.
How did you pick?
I went by the presidents. I picked presidents, almost all presidents, some Supreme Court justices. After you.
Are you paving over the grass here?
What was happening is that's supposed to have events. every event you have, it's soaking
sink.
wet.
Yeah.
It's soaking wet, and people can't. And the women with the high heels, it's just too much.
That's who did the Kavanaugh.
That's where
Kavanaugh
we did.
thing.
That's right.
Amy Coney Barrett.
And the grass it doesn't work, and we have a gorgeous stone and everything else.
Okay.
But we use it for press conferences, and it doesn't work because the people fall into the, into the wet.
The roses stay. The grass goes.
The roses stay. No, it's a rose garden. No, all of this stays. Just the center section. I think it's going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be more beautiful. Look at that view over there. See that?
Pretty nice.
Look at that. How is that? Pretty good?
Pretty beautiful.
It's a great place.
So you thought there's no doubt you're coming back into office when you walked out of here.
Well, I felt that, but I didn't know. Let me say it. I didn't know if I was going to run because I knew how much I won that election by. But if I thought I didn't win the election, I absolutely wouldn't have run.
Wow.
But because of the fact I did so well, it was such a horrible.
But if you didn't run, they would never come after you legally. They never would have done all that to you. If you didn't run, they would have let you alone.
I was told, so I took a big chance.
Yeah, you sure did.
I took a big risk, actually.
In the mug shot.
Nobody's ever told me that. What you just said, nobody's ever said it. That's exactly correct. If I didn't run, none of this.
Oh, no. They wouldn't have had any investigation. None of it would
they
have.
hated me, but you have to get on with your life.
They'd be on to the next target.
Right.
They would have been on to the next
Very
target.
interesting. You're right about that.
Yeah. But that's a pretty big that's a pretty big gamble.
That was a big risk. So this is the Oval Office, and we've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort. We've taken a lot of great paintings out of the vault. And I don't know, maybe you could circle that somehow. So here's a question I ask. So Reagan has a place of prominence, and George Washington has a place of prominence. And I've asked this question maybe 200 times. People come in. I said, so who would you put in the place of prominence, George Washington or Ronald Reagan? Who would you put?
Washington.
So far, it's 219-0. And they like Reagan.
Oh, I love Reagan.
But here's what they like more than anything. So this is the Declaration of Independence.
Wow.
And they ask that this be done. It's never been up. It's been in the vaults for many, many decades. And they said, we have to do something like drapes or something because the light eventually affects it. And it's very cool.
Oh, my gosh.
Isn't that great? Just went up yesterday.
Maybe you guys can answer this, but I don't think that's the original Declaration. Maybe it's just a copy because it looks too clean. It doesn't look as dated. But the thing is, you have to have respect. He still wants to cover a copy of the Declaration of Independence, even if it's not the original copy. That shows you this guy really does have a deep love for America.
Think Joe Biden would do this? I don't think so. Do you think he'd think of it? Do you think he knows what it is?
Oh, wow.
No, but look at it. But this was, none of these pictures were up. Very few. It's like very little. And it's been great.
Now, there was a lot made on another network about your bringing in the gold accents to Trumpify the Oval Office.
It needed a little life.
So you have the mantle and you have the cherubs from,
Right.
is that from Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, that's actually, they're gold, all gold, look. And it's angels. They say angels bring good luck. And we need a lot of luck in this country with what they've done over the last 4 years. So take a look. Do you know that little secret? I don't know if you're going to waste your time putting this on, but throughout the years, people have tried to come up with a gold paint that would look like gold, and they've never been able to do it.
Can't do it.
You've never been able, look at that look. You've never been able to match gold with gold paint. That's why it's gold. And this is very important. Very proud of this, Gulf of America. And in fact, Elon said to me, we're landing in the Gulf of America. So he was saying, and he said it naturally. He said it so routinely. He said, yeah, the capsule, is landing in the Gulf of America. So I called Elon, where is it dropping down? He said, Gulf of America. How cool is that, right?
What do you think all these presidents would think right now about
I think
the
they'd
state
be
of the
proud
country?
of our country. I think a year ago they would have been disgraced by our country, and I think today they're proud of our country.
not only would they be disgraced, I don't think that they would believe the state of America under Joe Biden. The sheer fact that they were politically attacking, trying to arrest their lead political opponent, yeah, I don't think that was believable. If somebody told you that 10 years ago, you would think that they're absolutely crazy. Could you imagine when Obama was going against Mitt Romney, Obama decides to politically persecute Mitt Romney and put him in jail? Nobody in this country would believe there's even a fraction of a chance of that happening. Yet just because Donald Trump shook up Washington, D.C. so much, and they're so terrified of this man, they're willing to go to all these extreme lengths just to stop him. So I have no doubts if you went back to every single U.S. president, at least 95% of them would be supporting Donald Trump and what he's doing for this nation.
Redone by an unbelievable group. They do only the White House furniture. They do only very special. This is the Resolute desk. Many great presidents sat behind that desk, and many didn't. I mean, they have 7. When you're president, they give you a choice of 7 desks. This is the one.
Why? Why did you want this?
Just like I like the history. You had Reagan, you had Kennedy. That was the famous one with John, who I knew very well, and he was a friend of mine. He was a great guy. He would have been maybe president someday. He would have been a real chance to be president. He was going to get into politics. He was actually a great guy. John. But remember when he was a young boy, the picture of him at the bottom of the desk?
Where's the Coke button?
It's right here. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear. Everyone thinks that's the nuclear weapon. They think it's a nuclear weapon. They say if I press this, it's the end of the world.
Oh, and then there's like
and it doesn't seem to work out that
50.
Doesn't that look beautiful though over there? But beautiful. To me, you know what looks beautiful? The Gulf of America. Look at that.
Which one's better? Which one?
And I'll take the Declaration of Independence. I think so. Isn't that cool?
When's the first time you signed? The way you sign your name, it's just people are so fascinated. But have you had that signature since you were little?
Pretty much, but it's become sharper. In other words, if I look at it from 20 years ago, it was similar, but it was much softer.
And you like when your staff secretary reads out the executive orders to you, and you're sitting
No, I only
here?
do that for the media, for the fake news.
Okay.
This way, yeah, they read it out, and I'll do now because I don't even have to move. I'll do them. I'll sit here. I'll do them, and you can do a lot. They get a kick when I'm doing other work and doing a news conference. When you had another guy that couldn't name his favorite ice cream, they always used to ask him, "What's your favorite ice cream?" Vanilla. Oh, great. He's done a press conference, ladies and gentlemen. It was crazy.
Will you talk to him again, do you think?
Yeah, I'll talk
Joe
to him.
Biden?
Sure.
Do you ever call any former president? Do you call any of the former presidents?
Not much.
No.
A lot was made out of the fact that I got along very well with President Obama, right? You saw that.
Yeah, it seems so.
I can, I can do things that a lot of people
You were
can't.
friends with pretty much all of them.
I just didn't like the job they did. Because it's not about friends. I didn't like the job they did. They let our country down.
I love that. Donald Trump doesn't take any of this stuff personally. Yes, they tried to imprison him, but that's not going to make him vindictive. That's not going to make him want to attack them back. An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Trump knows that. He just wants what's best for America, and he doesn't want to waste any time. He doesn't want to waste a minute thinking about Obama, Biden, and trying to get revenge on them. Rather, he just wants to make our life better. And he's going to do that through his agenda, how he's going to deal with foreign policy, how he's going to deal with security in this nation, secure our southern border. Every waking minute is spent on that. Elon Musk even said, "I want this country to prosper like never before." But I'll tell you what, I really like this interview because it kind of showed Trump off the cut. He wasn't as professional. He was just walking around, having a nice time. And if you watch the mainstream media, you rarely see that side of him because they're always attacking him and he's in defense mode all the time. But yeah, what would be your answer to that question? Would you rather have George Washington or Ronald Reagan? Me, myself, I'm a George Washington man. He's my first or second favorite president. I'm torn between him and Trump. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash that like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.